For context, that's me as a teenager doing what I did as a teenager, which was sitting down at a piano and writing songs. And I've just managed to complete with Paul Ibbott a musical called 9 Teens, which tells the story of 9 teenagers, all of whom existed in a different period of our country's history. So from the 1950s right up until the 2022s. And I'd like to introduce to you one teenager who was a friend of a friend. His name is Mike Brace, and he was a friend of Graham Salmon. And when I heard his story, I always wanted to be able to tell it. And I'm just going to introduce him to you. He's our teenager from the 60s. I'm going to just give you a little example of what I first heard about him when I watched a TV documentary about him on ITV when he was much younger. This was produced in the 70s, but he's our teenager from the 60s who went blind pretty much the week before he became 13. Over to ITV.
Mike's 25. He was blinded by a firework.
The firework went off and I was sort of thrown to the floor and there was blood pouring everywhere. But I could still see at that time. I just thought I'd cut myself badly. When I went to hospital, then woke up with pads on my eyes. I think that was probably the most frightening sort of time. And suddenly not to be able to see what you're eating and sort of people poking feeding mugs in your mouth with sort of foul-tasting rubbish that you didn't really know what you're eating in your mouth and things like that was really frightening, and sort of having to sort of go to the toilet in bed and all sorts of things that, you know, was embarrassing. I was, you know, embarrassed at all the people coming around and bed baths and you just didn't know what was happening. You didn't know where you were, your environment or anything.